Hi everyone, welcome back to Wildwood Cottage, and today I'm making pumpkin soup and I thought that I would show you how I make it. It's a staple in my house every winter, and we seem to have this quite a lot, probably every couple of weeks during the winter. I make a big massive pan, and which we'll see in a minute, and then that lasts us the whole week, and what doesn't get eaten before it goes off then goes in the freezer. So I thought I'd show you the ingredients that I'm going to put in. I call my orange soup because everything that I put in is orange ingredients. So the first thing I've got is pumpkin, but I've already cut that up and I've already put that in. I'll just get it out the fridge. This is what was left. I've used half of a small pumpkin. It's just an ordinary one of the carving pumpkins that they were selling in the supermarket. I think it was about £1, something like that, and I've used half. So it's a really frugal soup to make. It's really cheap to make, and you'll get a lot of soup that will go a long way. So you'll be able to feed a lot of people. So I've probably used about 50p, say £1 worth of pumpkin already so far. So that's the pumpkin. I bought a bag of carrots and they were 45p, and there was about 10 or 12 carrots in a bag, I think, and they were decent sized carrots, this kind of size, and I'm using 5 carrots in my soup, so that's probably about 25p. I've got this Just Add sauce that I get from Lidl, and it was about 49p. And you use about roughly just under a teaspoon of that, and that just adds a bit of a kick, like a chilli kick to it, so it's nice and spicy. So I just put a bit of that in. I use garlic granules. I don't buy garlic bulbs. I do buy them, but I don't use them very often because I find them quite wasteful. So or you can either use this stuff, which is called lazy garlic. And again, you can get this in Lidl for about 79p, and you use a teaspoon, so it's only going to be pennies for the garlic. I've got a bulb fennel, and I think they were 79p in Asda, and I'm just using one, what I would call a cheek off the fennel. You don't have to use it, you can always use fennel spice or fennel seeds if you've got them rather than the proper fennel, but I just like the aniseedy flavour that it adds to the chilli. So I'm just using one part of that, so I've still got all that left over. So that's that. And my staple in my house is red lentils. I love red lentils, they are so versatile. You can throw them in everything, you can throw them in soups, you can throw them in stews, you can put them in pasta, but I throw them in all of my soup pretty much, and they are about, I think in Lidl now for a kilogram bag they're about 89p, and you don't use much at all. I use a cup this much, this is a measuring cup, and I'm not sure what that is in grams. I think it's about 240 grams, something like that. So you'll get 4 servings of this huge pot of soup out of an 89p bag of lentils. So all in all, so far, I'll do a tot up and put it at the end for you, but we've got £1 for the pumpkin, 25p for the carrots, roughly say 20p for the lentils, so that's what, £1.45, and then pennies for the other ingredients, so we'll say, for argument's sake, 30p for the other ingredients, because I'm going to put a bit of curry powder in as well. So we'll say 30p for the other ingredients. So you're looking at probably £1.75 for a soup that's going to feed 10 people. 17p roughly, no, I don't know, £1.7, 1p, no, hang on, I can't work it out. 17.5p per person. Can't go wrong with that, can you? I mean, it's going to be a really nice, nutritious soup, whole ingredients. If you bought that in the supermarket, you'd be looking about £2 a tin. So, yeah, what I'll do now is I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you my pan, and I'll show you me putting the ingredients in and chopping them up. So, I'll just turn the camera around. Right, this is my stock pot. It's about a 4.5 litre pot. And I've already got my pumpkin in there with a litre of water because I like my pumpkin to be really nice and soft. You can use any size stock pot you want, but I find for this soup and a lot of my soups that I make that this 4.5 litre pan, 5 litre pan is the best size, and I get about 10 portions of soup out of it. So that's my pan, my pumpkin, and then there's the rest of my ingredients. So we're just going to get these prepared and get them put in. So I'll just put you back. Right, so the first ingredient we're going to put in is a cup of our lentils. So measuring cup of lentils. So see, I've still got all those lentils left, masses of them. So I'm just going to throw this in, just into the pan. Right, you get yourself a spoon and then you can give that a stir like that. Okay, so that's that. Pop a lid on, that'll keep the steam in and you won't need to have the pan as hot. Next thing we're going to add is my fennel. So all you do to move the pan back onto the gas, all you do is just chop it up small. I mean, it's all going to get blended in the blender anyway to make it smooth, but yeah. It just releases the flavours a bit better if you chop it up. So take the lid off your pan again and just chuck them in. So that's that. Give it another stir to mix everything up. Right, the next thing is carrots. Now I don't peel my carrots because I don't. I just don't bother. Cut them in half if they're quite big. They'll cook better, they'll cook quicker. You won't need to have them on the stove as long. And the great thing about this soup is if there is any hard bits, get blended in the blender anyway. So I just roughly chop them like that. Nothing special. There's the last one going in now. Right. So as you can see, there's very little waste as well. There's just the tops off the carrots. Pop them in the compost. Our other ingredients are our garlic, which I think I'll use this one today just to show you how much I use. Oh, there's not much in there. Yeah, this is the jar to look out for in Lidl, and it's called Bats, and I think it was 79p a jar. So all I'm going to put in, just for now, for taste, is this, a half teaspoon measuring spoon, just a half a teaspoon. It's going to be a heaped one, like that. Knock it in. That's it. Because I find the jars are a lot stronger than the ordinary garlic, so you don't need as much, which is why I buy them, because one clove of garlic is equal to 1 teaspoon of this, so it goes a lot further, I find, and it's a lot cheaper because I find that the garlic cloves go off. The next thing we're going to add is this one, and again I say I got this in Lidl for 79p, and it's called Just Add Chili Pepper Spice Puree. So it means you can have 1 teaspoon of this is 1 teaspoon of chili powder, so you don't need a lot of this at all. So I'm actually only going to add a 1/4 teaspoon at this point, just to taste, just to see what it's like, because it's quite intense. So just add that in. As you can see, it's cooking quite quick, thickening up nicely actually. So that's that. So that's our garlic and our chilli. And then the final ingredient, which I like to add, is just some powdered curry powder. I buy this in a big bag, and I think I'm going to add a teaspoon, a whole teaspoon, a flat teaspoon of curry powder. That goes in, gives it a nice warm curry flavour. I'll show you the bags I buy, because they're really good value for money. You can get them in any supermarket. I get mine in Tesco's, I think. And it's just these bags, this range. It's called the Raja range. And that's Madras curry powder. You can get cumin seeds, turmeric, garam masala. It's a whole bag I've got there of turmeric. As I say, a little bit goes a long way, so that's that. You could add cumin seeds in if you want, but I choose not to. The last ingredient I put in is tomato puree. Now these are 32p in Lidl at the moment, but this is a Morrison's one. So measuring spoon again, just about a teaspoon. Put a heaped teaspoon in, because I can't eat a lot of tomato, so it doesn't agree with my digestion. Just make sure your spoon's clean when you take it out, so you're not wasting any then. And that's it, that's all you need. So give everything that you've put in a stir. You will need to add more water to it when it's all cooked, but I don't like to add too much now. I wait till all the ingredients are cooked. So that's our soup so far. Looks lovely, doesn't it? Lovely and colourful. So I'll leave that on the gas now for about 25 minutes to cook with the lid on, because that keeps the heat in and stops all the steam. And because it's already cooking, I'm going to turn it down to about a quarter and let it cook and simmer for 25 minutes. So when the soup's cooked, we'll come back and pop it in the blender when it's cold, and then you can see what I do to finish off the soup. So yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Right, okay, so our soup is done, and this is what it looks like in the pan. There's not much water in there because the vegetables have absorbed all the water, so we're going to add some water in. I've boiled the kettle and it's warm. I don't want to add boiling water to it because I want the soup to be cool enough to pop in the blender so that we can blend it smooth. So I've got probably about half a kettle of water. So we're going to throw some of that in. Just enough just to make the soup loose in the blender. And while the camera was switched off before, I added some vegetable stock. Now I use this for everything. It's called Vicon and it's a vegetable stock. It's a bit like Marmite inside, it's brown. But it's got a lovely flavour. If it was smell-o-vision, you'd be able to smell it. But it says it's for soups, sauces and gravies. Added vitamins, 100% vegetarian. Now I use this for everything. I use it for pastas, I use it for soups, I use it for stews, casseroles. I put it in everything because I love it. If you shop in Aldi, you can get this one. It's called Mighty and it's a yeast extract. Now it'll do the same thing and it is vegan as well, which is great for people who don't want to have any animal products. So all it is yeast extract, salt, water, and then some vitamins, folic acid, vitamin B12. So it's a really good alternative to this one, because this is £3.40 a jar. It sounds expensive, but I can using it in everything, it will last me about 3 months, I think, so it's about £1 a month. But this one was 89p. Now I don't know how much salt it's got in. It doesn't actually say on the back, I don't think. I can't see. There's 16 grams of salt, 17 grams of salt in that, and I don't know what that is on the scales. But yeah, just one to be aware of if you're trying to be low salt, because it's got a red warning on the salt, whereas this one, now this one's got even more. It's got 30 grams of salt. So I would say, salt wise, that one's the better one. So it all depends, but I don't use much. I only use 1/4 teaspoon in a whole big pan of soup like this. So it depends how bothered you are about the salt. Right, so I'm getting distracted there. So this is my blender. Give your soup a stir to mix in that water you've just put in. Everything's all nicely cooked. What I do is I get myself a soup ladle and pop it in, like that. And that way you can concentrate on the liquid if you want to. But I just find it easier than trying to pour the whole pan in one go. My theory is I try not to have any more than being able to put it through the blender once. And if there is, then I just blend it and then add more. And I think this is going to be the case of that. So what we'll do is we'll blend this, pour out of the pan what's in the pan, and then we can add the soup back in. So where's my lid? There's my lid. Right, you want to pulse this really, you don't want to have it on a continuous, so. I'm just going to get another pan, try and get as much of the lentil as I can, because there's still quite a bit of lentil left in this water. And I just want to make sure I get it all smooth, because I like this soup smooth, not bitty. My vegetable soup is chunky, but this one I like nice and smooth. So there you go, the pan's empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour half back. Because as you can see, it's quite smooth. So we'll do that. Then I'll pour the rest of this in. It's a bit like baby food at the moment. I don't know whether you can see, but it's all nice and smooth now. Smells delicious. So we'll pour that in there. Right, let's see how thick it is. That's actually quite thick. It's just the right thickness. I might just add a little bit more water into my blender just to clean it. Give it a bit of a... Also gets most of it out the blender as well. Add that in. And that is perfect. So what I'll do now is I'll add a bit of pepper, like that. Whether you can see. I've added a bit of pepper. Yeah, what you can do is you can just heat yourself up a portion at a time in the microwave. Or you can keep a small amount in a pan and just heat that up on the stove top when you're ready for your lunch, and then keep the rest in the microwave. If you find that you thin it out too much, just put a bit of corn flour powder in, a little bit of water in it, and that'll thicken it up a little bit. I'll just show you that in case you don't know what that is. I buy this one from Lidl, and it's vegan, and it was, I think it was about 79p. So I use this one. I just put a teaspoon in a cup, mix it with some water, and then pop it in, and then just stir the soup until it thickens, and then it'll be nice and thick for you. So depends how thick you want it. I added a little bit too much water, but I'm going to try it now and see how it tastes. and if it tastes alright, then I won't need any more corn flour. But yeah, so that's it for now. If you've enjoyed my recipe, I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me as I cook my soup. And yeah, give it a try. It's a lovely soup. It's a lovely warming soup. It's a comforting soup, and it goes perfect with some homemade bread or some bread rolls from the supermarket. But I'm not on bread at the moment. I'm trying to be bread free at the moment, gluten free and grain free at the moment, because I'm on a weight loss. And yeah, you can serve it with bread and butter if you want to. So yeah, anyway, that's it from me for today. Hope you've enjoyed my video. Hope you've enjoyed my recipe. And I will see you next time for another recipe. So I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Bye bye.